Hey everybody! So I guess this is our last video for 243. As I've been scheduling out the term and dropping things into their places, I held this last day as kind of a catch-all. I kept having ideas that would come into my inbox sometimes, like this one about misinformation on Twitter, and as I started scrolling through, I'm like, oh, this will be a fantastic capstone research project for them to look in. And I was scrolling down and I was like, yes, p-values. There, we got statistical significance. And I started looking really carefully at the variables they were measuring, and there were variables we hadn't talked about in class, and this crazy confidence interval that goes from 0.1 to 0.1, which, is it an interval then, or is it just a point? Anyway, and I began to realize maybe I should not do something like that and overwhelm you, and focus instead on the popular procedure of looking at statistics through, say, John Oliver.
The way to live your life is you find the study that sounds best to you, and you go with that.
No!
For those of you who want to watch that whole clip, I'll link it in Canvas. And I thought p-hacking, that would be a good one, since we're talking about p-values now, and I think we're starting to get the hang of what p-values are. We could talk about p-hacking, because the problem is you can I've actually been a victim of p-hacking. I shouldn't call myself a victim of p-hacking. I was hired for free to help an OSU grad student years ago with a research project that they were doing, and they actually were repeating a research project that was already done by somebody else. And the person that did the first time had gotten a small p-value on whatever they were measuring, which I'm totally drawing a blank on what it was now. I think it was a 2-sample t-test, but I don't remember exactly. And this person repeated it and got null results, which means they got a large p-value. And I said, well, sorry, you didn't get the statistically significant result. And I tried to explain to him there's a reason for that. If you operate at the 95% confidence level, 5% significance level, one time out of 20, you are going to get a small p-value in error. That's what 5% significance, 95% confidence means. It goes all the way back to the beginning when we talked about confidence intervals. And what 95% confidence means. It means 1 out of 20 data points, sample averages, whatever, are going to escape the interval, even though they are part of the null distribution. And I was trying to explain that to this person, and they didn't like my answer, so they ran around and found somebody else that did a bunch of different tests for them. They kept trying different tests until one of the tests produced a small p-value, and then they got their paper published and they got their PhD. And I said, scratching my head, I'm like, is that how we're supposed to use statistics? Are we supposed to just search for small p-values and then publish papers?
My success as a scientist depends on me publishing my findings. And I need to publish as frequently as possible in the most prestigious outlets that I can.
Now, that's true. Scientists are under constant pressure to publish, with tenure and funding on the line. And to get published, it helps to have results that seem new and striking, because scientists know nobody is publishing a study that says nothing up with acai berries.
Because that is a big problem right now. John mentioned it in the p-hacking talk there, which you can check the whole thing out later. But one of the big problems is when studies get what are called null results, which means large p-values, that means nothing statistically significantly apparent occurred. So we haven't escaped our null hypothesis distribution. The problem is that those don't get published very often. So if you're only publishing positive test results, and 1 in 20 of them are false positives, by definition, you start to realize how much stuff out there could get overturned by a follow-up study. As a matter of fact, the student that hired me to do their study probably should have thanked me, because then they could have gotten somebody else to do another study and then seen what happened there with the exact same results as the first two. Then the first one might have been labeled as a false positive. Unfortunately, up until relatively recently, that's not the way research statistics was done. It's done more of a p-chasing. We're on the search for small p-values. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into that because we're at the end of the course and I know you're exhausted. So rather than talk about meta-analyses or multiple parameter hypothesis tests, I want to thank you. Thank you for all the interactions we've had in this class. Thank you for the time you've spent doing the stuff I've built. Thank you for your patience as I've kind of waded through this new 243 that the state of Oregon dropped in my lap. What I wouldn't give for 10 more weeks with you. I know you don't want that, but what I wouldn't give to have 10 more weeks to really suss out and dive more deeply into these ideas. But we don't have 10 more weeks, so we're going to call this course, we're gonna stick a fork in it and call it done. And I gave you, this last homework following this video is going to be optional. It's basically just to kind of get your thoughts on the course. So if you want to do it. I'll give you 10 points for doing it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. I won't give you anything for it. I won't give you a 0. I just won't count it as part of your grade. I put some quizzes up for Friday as well. Do them if you need them. And I guess that's it. It's kind of crazy. It doesn't feel like, I thought there would be like a big rush of like, yeah, we're done. But I'm just kind of wistful. I wish we had more time. But it's good. I've loved getting to know you all. Take care of your bad selves. Keep my email handy in case you run into stats later on. Chances are we can figure them out. I have created all kinds of statistical measures over the years, built hypothesis tests from scratch, because with a basis, and you've got most of that basis now from 243, with the basis of introductory inferential stats, we can go places. Dear friends, take care of yourselves. Thanks for being part of this course, and we'll see you around.